We are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Paul KONERKO, Adam Dunn, Alex RIOS, and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Billy Butler, Jeff FRANCOEUR, Alex Gordon, and the tough Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody, and welcome and happy Mother's Day. I'm Ken Harrelson. He's Steve Stone as we get set to bring you the finale of this three-game set. As you know, we won the opener 5-0. That was Gavin Floyd, was just outstanding. Then they reciprocated last night. They beat us 5-0. So trying to grab this rubber match today with Philip Humber.
Philip Humber is trying to make a comeback from the perfect game. He calls it a perfect game hangover, and hopefully things will work out a whole lot better than it's been lately. First half of last year, he might have made the All-Star team, was our best pitcher. And so we're hoping for more of the same from Humber because he's integral in the starting rotation. If he's throwing well, which means he's got to throw strike one, get on top, then use the breaking ball and set up a hitter that way, he's going to be pretty tough. But he's 1-2 this year. The ERA is up there. Danny Duffy, a youngster, is going to the mound. The left-hander is very talented. He's got really good stuff, but unfortunately for him, he gets to about 100 pitches around the fifth inning. Then they have to go to the bullpen, but there's no doubt this guy has number 1 or 2 stuff. We'll see if we see it today. He's 2-2, his ERA around 4. So Duffy, a good one. Kansas City, a pretty good offense. Let's see if Humber can shut him down.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. 75 years being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Ford. Drive one. The new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. BMO Harris Bank. Helping money make sense. BMO Harris Bank. NA member FDIC. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Toyota. With great specials on fuel-efficient vehicles. Right now, you can get a lot for less at your local Toyota dealer.
Sox try to take 2 of 3 from the Kansas City Royals. And let's take a look at how Ned Yost is going to line up his Royals today. The speedster DYSON leading off, and Chris GETZ hitting second with Gordon, Butler, FRANCOEUR, HOSMER, FALU, Escobar, and Quintero rounding out the starting 9. The defense and how they will line up behind Philip Humber. VICIEDO, Lillibridge in center field with RIOS in right. MOREL, Escobar, BECKHAM, and DUNN. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Philip Humber. ERA just under 7, the record 1-2. Trying to come back from what he might describe as that perfect game hangover. And it will all depend on strike 1. Take a look at the matchup today, and as you can see, Kansas City, who plays very well on the road, plays horribly at home, and that's why they're 12-20. Batting average, a bit better than the Sox. Runs scored, virtually even. Home runs, a little more power for our boys, and ERA, they've had some trouble pitching. So we're ready to play baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Steve, thank you very much, and once again, everyone, a very happy Mother's Day to each and all out there, and welcome to White Sox Baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. So happy you could join us on this beautiful day here in the City Beautiful. First pitch of the ball game to Jarrod Dyson is taken high and wide. Dyson comes in hitting at .311. No homers. He's driven in 3. 4 for 8 in this series. There's the strike. 1-1 to count in here at the ballpark. 330 down the left field line. 335 down the right field line. 375 in the gap, send 400 straight away center. That ball here well into left center field. Lillibridge got a good jump, got the bead, got the ball, and 1 out.
It's exactly what you want to have the little men do. And when Dyson does fall into trouble, and he hasn't fallen into much this year, he hits the ball in the air too much.
So that'll bring up Chris GETZ hitting at .292. No homers. He's driven in 6. Chris 0 for 2 in this series. Takes strike 1. And Steve and I say the tough Kansas City Royals in the opening. We mean it. Against us, they are really tough. Last year they were 11-7 against our White Sox.
And they've got a good lineup. They've got a lineup that not a whole lot of starting pitchers like to pitch against. However, they have a rotation that the hitters don't mind facing, except for last night as Luke Hochevar had one of his best.
And there's a line drive base hit, so good speed aboard. He's 5 for 6 in stolen bases. GETZ last year sold 21 of them.
They don't have many base runners, but the base runners they have are aggressive because Ned Yost knows that this isn't a team that's going to bash you out of the ballpark. They're going to have to win games 90 feet at a time, and GETZ is one of their best.
Alex Gordon. And happy Mother's Day to all the Bertucci clan. They're in the house.
Nice to see you, young fella.
Here's the 0-1. And there's a strike on the corner, so 0-2.
The umpires for the game today. Behind the plate, the crew chief Joe West, Sam Holbrook at first, Andy Fletcher is at second, and Rob Drake is at third.
Whoops. Don't throw it away.
Now, in last night's game, Gordon was swinging at every face-high fastball. You could just throw the ball by him upstairs. Pretty good lead by GETZ. Long set.
Checks it up, and the count 1-2.
Interesting bat selection for Alex Gordon. Nice color.
For Mother's Day.
Beautiful.
A lot of guys are going to be sporting the pink bats. He gone. 2 down.
That's what I mean. That ball up and away, just above Gordon's hitting zone, which is just below the letters and just off the outside corner. Good pitch by Philip Humber.
So here's Billy Butler at .291, 6 homers and 24 driven in. Billy 2 for 9 in this series, and lifetime against Philip is 2 for 4. A little bigger lead now by GETZ. Lily Bridge shading him a few steps over towards Rios and right. Gap out there in left center. One and 0 the count. Sox will conclude this game, this series, and then tomorrow and Tuesday. Tomorrow night, Tuesday afternoon, at 3-2 game set with the Tigers. And for the third series that we have played Detroit this year, we will miss Verlander. He's pitching today out at Oakland. One and 1 to count to Butler. And as we speak, top of the third inning at Fenway, Red Sox leading Cleveland 4-0.
You can see by the numbers of Billy Butler, when the situation gets tougher with runners on, he's a much better hitter. Now you would think that Ned Yost would be running here. You do have 2 outs in the inning, but on a 1-2 pitch, you're not going to get a pitch out. Even though Tyler Flowers is looking over at Mark Parent to see what suggestions he might have. Maybe the throw to first to try to keep him close.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. 3-1.
There's a look at Mark. He'll go through his set of signs given to Tyler. He'll call pitch outs. He'll call throw to first. He'll call slide steps.
A little bigger lead by GETZ. And he walks it. And an interesting game to keep an eye on today in the Bronx. Seattle taking on the Yankees. Mariners leading 2-0 over. That's in the top of the 5th. Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte, Kevin Millwood. A couple of old warriors going head to head with one another.
Pettitte retired and then decided he wanted to come back and give it a shot.
His arm still works. Why not? Especially with the Yankee Bucks they throw around, and they are desperate for some help out of the rotation and now the bullpen.
Jeff FRANCOEUR takes ball 1. He's 0 for 9 in this series, but lifetime against Humber. Faced him 4 times, has 3 hits.
It's going to be a little livelier at the ballpark today than it has been.
There's a chopper right to the bag, steps on it. And that'll retire the side. Nothing across. It was a hit. Royals 2 left after half inning of play. It's the Royals nothing, and the good guys coming to bat.
today. Lillibridge leading it off, and BECKHAM, DUNN, KONERKO, Alex Rios, who's been hot with VICIEDO, Flowers, MOREL, and Escobar rounding out the starting 9. The defense, and on the lineup behind Danny Duffy. Left to right, it's Gordon, Dyson, and FRANCOEUR in the infield. FALU, Escobar, GETZ, and HOSMER. QUINTERO getting a start behind the plate. And the Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Danny Duffy. He's 2-2 in ERA and even 4. As you can see, too many walks for the youngster. Gets himself in a pitch count problem and leaves a lot of games earlier than he should, but his stuff is good.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as the first pitch to Brent Lillibridge. Fastball at 94, taken for a strike. Outfield spread out, gap out there in left center. And that's a souvenir over the Royal dugouts.
Dave Island is trying to get Danny Duffy to trust his stuff and go right at hitters early in the count. He has a tendency, number one, when you have good stuff, and he's got a good curveball, to have a lot of swings and misses and take counts deep.
That's some gas upstairs, so one down.
Not much playing around here. No setup pitches. Fastball that was out of the zone, but tantalizing enough. It goes right by Lillibridge.
That'll bring up BECKHAM. Gordon at 216, a couple of homers. He's driven in 9. 2 for 7 in the first 2 games here as he takes first pitch strike. Sox come in hitting at 237 as a club with a 3.50 team ERA. Curveball high.
The Royals, who shift just about as much as anybody in baseball, playing Gordon exactly straight up, outfield and infield.
2-1.
As you can see, as we pan around, we show you the defense. No bias whatsoever, meaning no tip-off as to how Duffy is going to work BECKHAM.
Three balls and a strike. Dunn on deck and KONERKO in the hole. And that's ball 4. And right now, let's check out our Farmers Insurance picks to click. DiMangio, our director and the crew, went with Lillibridge. Steve's going with Gordon BECKHAM. And all the mothers and I out there. We're going to go with Brent Morel.
Well, that was a big walk to Gordon BECKHAM right there. Leading things off and all.
All right, Harold.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you pile up the pitch count, great at that.
Harold Hill and a snake oil. So here's Dunn. Adam 2 for 6 in the series, comes in at 248, 11 homers, and 26 driven in.
4th leading slugging percentage in the American League.
Who's leading?
It's a good question. If it's not Josh Hamilton, there ought to be an investigation.
18 homers.
It's really astounding.
Huge gap out there in left center. There's a strike. Count evens at 1. That Jared Dyson out there has got to lose at least 1 or 2 pounds every game.
Well, he just keeps moving and moving. Right now he's deep in right center field. We'll take a look at Adam Dunn this season and last season. As you can see, just an unbelievable start to this 2012 season. On base percentage especially. Slugging percentage not even in the same stratosphere.
And the 1-2. Fouls it straight back. High in the center field. He got a cookie right there and just underneath it.
That was a rolling, hanging curveball. QUINTERO wanted it low and away, and Adam realizes that he pretty much let him off the hook, and now with the trainer coming out, they want to see if Duffy's okay. So if there's anything wrong with him, they've got a problem. He's one of their best and one of their brightest hopes for the future.
Yes, sir.
Looks like he's going to leave the ball game.
Got to like Danny Duffy. Can't take any chances with him.
No, I think they've already motioned to the bullpen. And that's going to be it for Duffy, who will leave this game a lot more quickly than he thought, a lot more quickly than anybody else thought, and that's the best thing they could possibly do is get him out of there. Well, take a look at it.
That might be the reason he hung that curveball right there and rolled it up there to Dunn. So unfortunately, there's got to be something wrong with his arm. He'll depart. We hope he's going to be all right because he indeed is a terrific looking young prospect. He departs and we'll be back.
In the minor leagues, originally signed by the Boston Red Sox back in the year 2000. Then with Kansas City the last couple of years, coming over to Kansas City from Texas. And his major league mark, 6-9. Over in the minor leagues, 77 minor league wins with 68 losses. So he's effective down there, and at 28 years old, there's really no reason why he shouldn't be effective up here, but so far it hasn't taken for him, and he'll have as much time as he possibly wants to get loose, obviously with the injury. So he is getting ready, and I'm not sure we'd have had a much different lineup whether he had started or whether it was Duffy. But we just have to hope, and we will get a report on Duffy. You have to hope that he's okay. You hate to see some of the very good young players, especially the promising players, guys like Duffy, leave for any arm injury whatsoever.
Well, it appeared to be his elbow as he was pointing to it. As you'll see him right here. And that's when Ned Yost said, that's it.
Yep, that's inside. And for the most part, that area there, medial epicondyle, you get tendinitis. And sometimes easy to deal with. You just lay off for a bit, use anti-inflammatory drugs, sometimes a little tougher.
All right, well, we have a moment here. If you've seen the White Sox Dynamic Ticket Deal of the Week, we'll enjoy a variety of price options for specific games and seating locations. Now, the best tickets and the best locations directly from the White Sox. So buy early. Buy early and save with the White Sox Dynamically Priced Tickets. Visit whitesox.com/pricing. Well, you're familiar with that area of the elbow.
I am indeed, because that's what ended it for me. But, of course, we're talking about 14 years after I started. He's just a youngster. And I'm sure that they will do everything they can to take a look at it. They're much more, number one, preventative these days than they ever were. Number two, much quicker to resolve a problem, to identify the problem and then resolve it than they ever were. And again, one of their leading stars they're going to take a look at and make sure that he's 100% before he ever gets back out on the mound.
Well, the biggest thing is identifying the issue. And, you know, in my time zone, we never heard of a torn ACL. We never heard of a torn. We never heard the term rotator cuff.
No, that guy just threw his arm out. That was
That's
the phrase.
exactly what he said.
What happened?
He just blew it up.
He threw his arm out.
Blew it up. So here's Paulie, 28-year-old right-hander Luis Mendoza, 6'3", 245 pounds, out of Mexico. You know, in one, it was one of the biggest games in Red Sox history. It was back in 1967. We had a Saturday and a Sunday game against Minnesota that we had to win both games. And then Detroit had to lose one game against the Angels for us to go to the World Series. And in the very bottom of the first inning, Yastrzemski is hitting, and Jim Cott was pitching. And this is when Kitty
could really throw.
Well, he walks Yastrzemski as Paulie checks it up. Then he had me, I don't know, 1-2, 2-2, threw me a curveball, and as soon as he threw it, I heard a pop. And it was a good curveball, and he struck me out. And he never went back out there.
Oof.
But he said, I talked to him about it later, he said he actually popped it on a curveball to Yastrzemski. And then the one to me just finished it off. And fortunately, we won both ball games. That's the only time I was ever at the plate, though, when I heard a guy throw a pitch and heard the pop.
Not good for the man on the mound.
No.
Mendoza last year was up briefly with Kansas City, was 2-0 in 2 starts with a 1.23 ERA.
And that is low. 2-2 with 2 down here in the bottom of the first. No score if you're just tuning in.
What he did do last year at the age of 27 at Omaha, he led the league in earned run average with 2.18 ERA and was 12-5. So he's shown conclusively that he can pitch in AAA. Somewhere along the line, he's going to have to show that up here.
Beckham 1 for 2 in stolen bases. Just a beautiful, beautiful day here in the city. Beautiful. Full count. There goes Gordon, and that's ball 4. So now, with 2 on, 2 out, that'll bring up Alex Rios. Alex hitting at 283 with a homer and 14 knocked in.
Well, although Danny Duffy is long gone from this game, he actually could stand to lose it. That's because his responsibility is still Gordon Beckham, who's out at second base. So his fate largely in the hands of Mendoza. He gets out this inning. Duffy gets a no decision.
Alex took that pitch nicely. Jammed himself right there. Fouls it back and 1-1. And now advantage goes back to Alex. Rios, 4 RBIs in his last 5 games. He's hitting .305 in his last 25. And that is fouled, and it's going to be playable. Hosmer gets here, makes the catch, and we threaten, can't score after 1. No score.
The game brought to you by Miller Lite this fine Mother's Day.
And a reminder, be with us tomorrow night, and that is a Value Monday. A Value Monday. First of that brief 2-game set with the Tigers. And Tuesday afternoon, then it's off to Anaheim for a brief 2-game series, and then back here for the Cubs, a day game. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And you're going to get some excellent savings coming to that ball game tomorrow night. And taking a look at a team that was supposed to run away with it, but funny things happen on the way to running away with it. They're under 500.
Hosmer takes strike 1. A 2-game series in Anaheim to come, right? That's the first one for me.
Right back into a day game.
First one for me. And that's the reason this is the first one for me on our White Sox itinerary. In 53 years in this game, I've never seen an itinerary.
With 3 words on it?
No.
Just pack it up and pack it up and go, it says?
I'll read it to you. Watch out. And that's not going to be playable. And on our itinerary that we get before every road trip, gives you times and everything about what we're going to eat on the planes and what time we take the buses to the park. This one says, please note per Robin. Dress code for this trip is what you would normally wear to the ballpark. Jeans are fine. No jackets or dress clothes required. Do not bring a suitcase for this trip. A carry-on bag is all you need. We will be in Anaheim for only 45 hours. Bring a couple of shirts, underwear, socks, toiletries, and that should do it.
Nice.
That's Robin.
Nice.
I've never seen that.
I suggest we bring underwear. That was good. Because those are things you might forget otherwise.
Oh, boy. It's a great game. The 1-2. He gone.
Good curveball by Philip Humber. You know that Eric Hosmer is going to break out of this early season slump. You just have to hope that it's not going to be today against us. He's too good a hitter to look like he's looked in this series and look like he's looked all year.
So here's FALU. Switch hitter. Irving FALU. I had a roommate, my first roommate in the big leagues. That's all he would take on a 7-day road trip.
You have a sink. Wash everything out.
Well, you know, I want to tell you something. That this is a little before your time. Is that guys used to absolutely do that. And they would.
I know.
They would iron them by turning on the hot shower and hanging them up in the bathroom so the steam would take out the wrinkles.
Well, you know, I've heard that still works. I've heard that works on shirts. I'm not sure.
With you, I can believe it.
That's what they tell me.
I can believe it. 2 down.
Another good curveball for Humber, who seems to have his pretty good stuff today.
Yeah, those laundry bills at the hotel are pretty expensive.
Well, you know, you have to make do. There's a recession, you know.
Boy, you're a pup out of Wimpy's. If you pay for it, it costs too much.
Jeez.
Oh boy. No, but you know when you're getting $10 a day meal money in the big leagues.
Yeah, and it goes a long way in New York City. We know that.
And that used to be the first trip, unbelievably so. Many times we had 2 and 3 week road trips back in those days, and you'd have a 3-week road trip. You're getting $10 a day meal money, and the first trip is in New York.
You'd have to really eat a lot because you wouldn't have anything to eat later on.
There's a base hit by Escobar, and he's doing what you should do. That's a George Brent move, thinking double all the way until you see it's not.
Yeah, you really like that because, number one, you put a little pressure on the defense. In this case, Lillibridge picked up the ball barehanded. You never know where the throw is going to go, so if you take the aggressive turn and if you're reading the throw as it comes in, if that throw's off the money, you just keep going and they're hard pressed to get you at second base. So that's good aggressive base running.
So here's Quintero at 241, a homer. He's driven in 7. Fouls it back. Well, back in those days, the veteran players who were making some money, they would always look at the itinerary and they would look at that because they were in that same spot when they were young. And what would happen when we started a long road trip, and if New York was in the first or the second phase of that trip, they would bring extra cash with them so that they could lend it to the young. And they would come up and say, "Hawk, you got any money?" I'd say, "Not much," and they'd give me a $50 bill or something. And then when you got paid, you give it back to them.
I think that's great.
Oh yeah. There he goes, got a big jump. Meanwhile, it's Academic. It's 2 outs, Alcides. Meanwhile,
he was just standing there. Yeah, they'd have reminded him that that would be the 3rd out.
All right, after an inning and a half, no score. Sportsnet.
Well, some big surprises around baseball, none bigger than the Baltimore Orioles leading Tampa Bay by 2 full games. Tampa Bay's lost 3 in a row. Baltimore's won 2 in a row. They beat Tampa the first 2 games of that series. That's a huge surprise. Cleveland leading the division by 2 is a surprise. Washington, although they're running out of players, Wilson Ramos probably lost for the year with an ACL and the reconstruction. They lead Atlanta by a half game. They're 21-12. I don't know how long they can stay afloat. They've had so many devastating injuries over there with the Nationals, but so far, great job.
Here's Viciedo. Tank with a big hack. Comes in at 202, 3 homers and 5 knocked in. Bottom of the 4th at Fenway, Red Sox. The Carmines leading Cleveland 5-1.
Josh Bard going to the mound for the Red Sox at home.
0-2 the count. No score. Cubs at Milwaukee. A game in the top of the 3rd. One out.
Diana's really been struggling. That's a good curveball in a perfect spot. When you get ahead of the hitter, you throw it there. Not that much of a shot unless he's willing to either foul it off or go to right field with it.
Here's Flowers. Tyler at 143 with a homer. Takes first pitch strike. Mets leading the Marlins 2-0. Bottom of the 6th then down in Miami. Mets are 19-14.
That's also a bit of a surprise. But they got Ike Davis back. That's a good thing for them. R.A. Dickey's 5-1, the knuckleball.
That's fair ball. And 2 down. So 2 out to Brent Morel, who was nursing a very sore back. Got a cortisone shot. And he said it's unbelievable the difference.
If they hit the right spot, it's going to take away most of the pain, or all of it.
And there's a little looper, and that's going to fall. Yes, it will. So you can cancel the post-game show. Our first hit.
That was a fastball at the inner portion of the plate. So Morel, who had a walk, a base hit, and a stolen base in last night's game, starts this one off with a little looper.
Here's Eduardo Escobar. Outfield well around to the left.
If Eduardo could pull the ball at all, he might be able to run all day. There is so much room in right center field.
Well, if he could hit a line drive at that Bacardi at the Parkside,
it might have an inside the park home run.
Oh, 0-2 the count. And stay connected to your Sox all season long. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, pin us on Pinterest, and reblog our unique Tumblr content. Visit whitesox.com/connect. changeup. Earl Weaver would have been shouting at the top of his lungs at Mendoza for that pitch. Escobar.
An 0-2 high change. Yeah. When I first got there, it signed a free agent deal, the first free agent they ever got. First ball game ever threw for him. Threw ball 1, ball 2, and somebody was screaming at me from the dugout. I looked over and couldn't see who it was exactly.
Couldn't find the ears on it, so Brent moves into second base.
And that one goes a wild pitch. Anyway, I finally saw what I thought was Earl standing behind somebody else, and I called over Doug DeSensei, our third baseman, and I said, is he screaming at me? He said, yeah, actually he is. I said, I've only thrown 2 pitches. He said, yeah, but he really doesn't like when you fall behind 2-0.
It's Earl.
I guess it was my first start as an Oriole.
That's Earl. That's one of the reasons he's in Cooperstown. Pick him up right here. Chops that one foul. 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brent at second, wearing number 22. And a full count. Lillibridge on deck.
Well, if Esquire does come up with a base hit, better not be at Gordon if they want to score Morel.
All right, better not be a line drive at FRANCOEUR.
Oh, he's in the same situation, although pulling it that drastically would be well against the shift.
It's all academic, and after 2, it's all 0. As our Sox battle their Cubs for bragging rights. Coverage begins at noon with Sportsnet Central live from the ballpark. The best coverage of the BP Crosstown Cup is on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
I'd be watching the bunt from Dyson, especially dragging it up the right side toward Dunn.
Left side foul. With his speed, if he doesn't bunt once or twice a game, he's making a huge mistake.
No, he wants to bring him in as far as they can at the corners and then try to slap the ball by him.
Well, he doesn't have to slap it by him if he gets the bunt down decent.
No.
Because of that speed of his, he's going to beat it out. 10 bunt singles a year is 20 points on your average. And obviously, if that's the case, then 20 bunt singles a year is 40 points on your average.
Well, Brett Butler, for years, would get anywhere from 20 to 25 bunt singles, and he didn't care if the third baseman was in on the grass. He'd still make a good bunt and beat it out.
Well, the Angels had a shortstop like that. His name was Jim Fregosi. He was one of the best bunters this game's ever seen.
I was say, it's hard to believe, as well as he hit, that he could bunt that well.
Unbelievable how well he bunt. And he said he absolutely loved it more when the third baseman was playing a couple steps in on the grass. He just had that knack. You want to walk this guy 3-1.
Now you're pretty much walking a double if you put him on. It's a bad way to try to keep it no score.
Here's Getz. So we'll see how it goes. If he wants to give up an out with Dyson, I doubt it.
Well, I'm not sure. No, he won't give up an out. But what I think his options are is either run with Dyson, not necessarily on the first pitch, but a hit and run with Getz up is not a bad idea either.
Well, I think the best option without question is a steal, straight steal. And then let Getz get him over to third. Getz has good speed as well, but not like Dyson. Let's see, Phillip trying to get his thoughts together out there. Good speed will really make a lot of pitchers. Absolutely, because that's into left field. It'll tighten that strike zone up. 1 out.
Well, what Humber and a number of our pitchers have tried to do, that's one of the reasons why our catchers have had so much success throwing out base stealers, is they're using the slide step 1. They're also changing their cadence where they're holding the ball for a while, not giving him the same look at first base. And you're always going to give up stolen bases. At least make it difficult on him.
Well, when you get a guy like Dyson, it's certainly not to put him in a category of a Ricky Henderson. Nobody was in that category. But when you get a guy like Dyson, there he goes. And he got it. What a throw by Tyler Flowers. Boy, that was you talking about on the money. Yes, Tyler.
Well, there's an example of Phil Humber holding him close enough to give Tyler Flowers a shot, because he got a pretty good jump.
He did.
But that throw was there, and actually Dyson was there, so we caught a break.
Soft looper, and that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the third, no score.
Think about that one for a bit. We'll get back to you with the answer a little later in the game.
Boy, the Royals have had in the past, in that George Brett era, some wonderful, wonderful ball clubs. And at one point there for about 7 or 8 years, they won more home games than any team in the American League.
Well, they outspeeded every team. I mean, they played in a big ballpark with the artificial surface and had better speed than any team that came in, and they would double and triple you to death.
And they had a leader as what? Look at this. That's safe.
That's the exceptional swinging bunt. This is good an effort as Mendoza could have used, as he jammed him well. I mean, he got that fastball way in there. But sometimes you give up a base hit that shouldn't have been.
So here's Beckham. He walked his first trip. But they had a great leader. And of all the players I've ever seen in my career, I have never seen a player who absolutely led his club to victory more so in a way than George Brett.
Well, it helped if your leader would occasionally hit 390.
Which he did.
Which he did. Played every day.
And he played
as hard as you could.
As hard as he could go. Every play. Every single was a double until he saw it was not. Every double was a triple until he saw it was not. His whole career. That ball is slashed right to FRANCOEUR. So a hang with him for Gordon. 1 out. And here comes Adam.
And from Lillibridge's standpoint, you don't want to get too careless at first base, because FRANCOEUR will throw behind you and many times double you off.
FRANCOEUR has over 100 outfield assists.
What's amazing about that is that folks continue to run on it. Give him the opportunity to cut you down.
I like this Quintero.
He's very quick behind the left-handers. I mean, he loves to throw to first base. Reminiscent in the National League of Yadier Molina of the St. Louis Cardinals. They drop down. In fact, Quintero will drop down on one knee and throw to second base on a stolen base opportunity.
Tony Pena. Yep. Rodriguez. Ivan.
That was Benito Santiago years ago.
Benito Santiago.
Came in rookie year, hitting 34 straight games, and threw from his knees consistently with a rocket for an arm.
You better have if you're going to go. Johnny Bench used to do that. And the count 3-0.
Well, the big man's going to air it out if he gets one to his liking.
And that's ball 4. Well, with the advanced scouting the way it is right now, Robin's already changed the way advanced scouts look at our ball club. Is not having the 3-0 offense, which we didn't. Now we do.
Now they got to be a lot more careful than they were in years past.
Which means, in turn, overall, we're going to be getting more walks. Here's Paulie. He walked his first trip.
Adams got 28 walks already. Far and away leading the team in that department.
And there's ball one.
Looks like Mendoza on his fastball feels a lot more comfortable throwing inside to the right-handers than he does throwing away from them.
Well, coming into the day, Adam was second in the league in walks. Up until a day or so ago, he was leading the league in walks. And there's a fair ball. Thank you very much. Here comes Brent. He will score. Sox lead it 1-0. Thank you.
Well, if I could pick up the pattern up here, I'm sure that Paulie, who studied this art of hitting a lot longer and a lot more intense than I have, realizes that Mendoza's going to go inside with the fastball. He missed the first time. Ball was waiting for another fastball inside and drove in his 19th run of the year. First run of the ball game. And a good way to start it.
Don't stop now, boys, as here's Alex. Fouled out to HOSMER. Short hop and rack him up. But the base hit by KONERKO scores Lillibridge. We'll go to the fourth, leading 1-0. Sox lead at 1-0 here in the top of the fourth inning. 1-3-0 for our guys. 0-2-0 for their guys as Billy Butler, who walked his first trip, will lead it off for the Kansas Cityans. Two and 0. Outfield spread out. Lillibridge a few steps over towards Alex in right field. There's a pretty good 2-0 pitch right there.
You're certainly not going to swing at it. It's very much a pitcher's pitch.
And the count evens at 2.
Pretty much another perfect pitcher's pitch.
Payoff. High. Alex taking charge. At a boy. One out. So here's FRANCOEUR. He grounded out to MOREL to end the first inning. Hooks that one, souvenir left side. Oh, and 2 the count.
Phillip has had pretty good stuff today. Has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. However, has been in command most of the time.
Curveball high. Well, there is such a thing as the perfect game hangover.
He is living proof of that. And then
Mark Burley took him a long time before he won his next decision. And there's a curveball. He gone. 2 down.
Also, we didn't have the extenuating factor of not only throwing the perfect game, but then he and his wife had a child. That was right before a start. And so this has been a most unusual season for Phillip Humber.
Yeah, as my buddy would say, it'll change your molecules.
Change a few things, yes. And your sleep patterns, too.
Yeah, it took Burley 9 starts before he won another game after his perfect.
That's amazing. It's really amazing.
HOSMER. Now 1 for 2.
Fortunately, Phillip was able to get down under that one, because that was hit awfully hard.
Jake Peavy would have sucked that one up.
He almost caught an ear burger on that one.
Jake would have took it right in the gut, picked it up, and threw him out. So here's FALU. He struck out. Struck out is called out. First at bat. Couple of southpaws on that bump tomorrow night, so make your plans to be with us here at the ballpark. Johnny Danks against Drew Smiley. As that's down low. In the finale of that 2-game set against Detroit and this brief 5-game homestand on Tuesday afternoon, Jake Peavy against Max Scherzer. Max 2 for 3. Check that, 2 and 3. That's high. Tank a long way to go. He's there, makes the catch, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It is 1-0 White Sox.
Two players in Royals history that have won multiple Gold Gloves, and the answer, Frank White with 8 of them. Amos Otis, the fine center fielder with a 3 spot. Well, they had a good defensive team. They had a team who could run.
I was always surprised Willie Wilson didn't win a Gold Glove out there. Willie Wilson, he made a few errors, but with that great speed he had, it was because he was getting the balls that nobody else could get to, and diving and reaching out.
And 230 hits in 1980. That's a lot of hits.
Willie was one of the fastest guys to ever put a pair of spikes on. 1-0 Sox here in the bottom of the 4th. VICIEDO struck out his first trip. Breaking ball misses, and the count 2-0. But Frank was a terrific second baseman.
He's the one real success out of the Royals Academy.
Fouls that one down.
They spent a lot of money on the Royals Academy, teaching athletes who are not necessarily baseball players how to play baseball.
Ewing Kaufman and Muriel, his wife, they both had a lot of ideas. Takes it up, and the count's 3-1. Don't help him out.
Look for the ball inside.
Chopper 2 Hopper. One out, and that'll bring up Tyler. Tyler, with a swing, hit a ball about a foot out in front of home plate. It was thrown out by QUINTERO. Bottom of the 6th in Boston, 5-1 Red Sox over Cleveland. Seattle leading the Yankees 4-1. Game on the top of the 8th in the Bronx. And there's a looper. Stay fair. It will. Thank you very much. So Flowers aboard, and that'll bring up Brent Morel.
Another inside fastball. Another base hit. If our boys start to open up a little bit and look for the ball in there, there can be a few doubles down the line. And that time, FALU got hung up with Rob Drake. Was way going after that, but of course had no chance for it anyway.
That ball hit deep into right field. FRANCOEUR, he's there and makes the catch. And now you better get back. What a play by Jeff FRANCOEUR. I'll tell you, he's as good as any right fielder with the exception of Vitro. Probably in all of baseball.
And then almost completed the double play. So he runs this one down. You see how shallow he's playing. DYSON playing shallow couldn't get there. Then he gets up and throws a strike to first base. Well, that was a little closer than it needed to be. Big effort by FRANCOEUR.
He is some kind of right fielder. And there's a base hit. Now that catch is even bigger. Come on, Tyler. Now they're going to hold him because FRANCOEUR will get it back in. So the double by Escobar.
Now it's time for the Illinois Lottery Anything's Possible replay. And it is Brent Lillibridge. Taking one in off his thumbs, a swinging bunt, beats the play at first base, and then was driven in by Pauly. That's the only run of the ball game to this point.
Let's have a redo.
Another base hit here. Gets us a couple.
Want to know the count with Beckham on deck. Oh, he's got the catbird seat. Still in good shape. Still in good shape, Brent. 2-1. Look at that snap right there by Mendoza. Wow. Meanwhile, we threaten, can't score. We're into the fifth, leading 1-0. Of 20 or more guests during the season. Purchase a block of tickets or enhance your outing by upgrading to a pregame patio party, Diamond Suite, or one of our other great party areas. And, of course, that's the domain of the Bertucci boys. Bobby, Bruno, Anthony, Giggs. Can't live about Giggs. So call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. Escobar lined the single right back through the middle, takes first pitch strike. 1-5-0 for our Sox. 0-3-0 for their Royals. Curveball. And the count 1-2. What a play by FRANCOEUR. Wow, that saved 2 runs. 2-2. Nice, Beckham. No, couldn't quite find the ears on it, so that'll be a base hit. If he gets the ears, he gets it.
Good effort on the dive, but with the speed of Escobar, you're not allowed any mishandle whatsoever. This part of it, very good as Gordon lays out, but when he hesitates even just a touch, despite his strong arm, he can't get him.
Humberto Quintero, the catcher, 0 for 1, went out deep to Lillibridge. Takes first pitch strike. And that ball hit into left center field. We got a man there. Here goes Escobar. He's going to make it.
Good heads-up piece of base running. Knowing that ball was deep enough and Lillibridge didn't have quite enough arm to get him, so he moves into scoring position.
So here's Dyson. He's gone out deep to center and walked. Flips that one. That's going to be foul. No play.
Here's our AT&T UVerse multi-view. Those are some very big numbers on the back of our 1972 throwback red pinstripes. Good looking uniforms.
And there's a good strike. 0-2. Chops that curveball straight down. He looks like he's a tough little out.
If you can keep the ball in on his hands, you're usually in pretty good shape. But he'll make some contact, and if he does chop the ball in the infield, you're hard pressed to throw him out at first base.
Outfield, straight up there, fairly short. And that hit him. So Escobar will go back to second.
Tried a breaking ball. Caught him right off the leg. That'll put the two fastest base runners on at the same time.
And bring up Chris Getz, who's 1 for 2. He laced a single into right field in the first inning, then went out to left in the third. Good curveball strike. Boston leading Cleveland 6-1, bottom of the 7th at Fenway. Later on, Detroit taking on Oakland. That's Verlander against Parker. And the count 0-2. That's fair. Adam taking himself. We're out number 2. And it'll bring up Alex Gordon. He is struck out and looped out to BECKHAM at second.
Tyler Flowers out there to talk with Phillip about just exactly what they want to do with him. They've been getting him out upstairs.
Billy Butler on deck. Last year's Gold Glove winner in left field. Originally a third baseman. Made a nice transition to the outfield.
Also had all kinds of struggles with the bat. So he's come back in a big way.
21 to count.
He was the second player chosen overall in the first round in 2005.
Well, certainly the talent is there. And the count 1-2. And up to this point, the approach is a little better, but not where you would have anticipated it being.
Fans trying to root on Phillip for a big pitch here.
He gone. And that'll retire the side. Halfway home, we lead it 1-0. 1-5-0 for us, 0-4-0 for them. It'll be BECKHAM, DUNN, KONERKO. We still have had no word on Danny Duffy. It appeared to be his elbow. As Gordon takes ball 1. As he had to leave in the first inning with 1 on and 2 out. FRANCOEUR. That is twice that Gordon is lined out to FRANCOEUR. Just stay right there, Gordon. They'll start falling, buddy. So here's Adam. Adam just missed one, going out high and very high to center field. Just flips that breaking ball over and grabs a strike. Then he walked back into third. Oh, 0-2 the count. A beautiful day here in the City Beautiful. Just got a piece of it. In the Bronx, Mariners leading the Yankees 4-1. That game in the bottom of the 8th. Tampa Bay leading Baltimore 7-4. Bottom of the 6th at Oriole Park. Cubs and Brewers are tied at 1 after 5 at Miller Park. Bottom of the 8th in Miami, a 2-2 tie with the Mets and the Marlins. They got the shift on and the 2-2 pitch. Line shot. That a boy.
Into an arch pitch tracks will show you that Mendoza decided to stay almost entirely away that at bat. Finally, Adam made him pay for it. Reaches up, pokes it into left field.
That'll bring up Paulie. He has walked and he has singled in our only run. Takes ball 1.
Mendoza in relief of Danny Duffy, who went 2/3 of an inning before he left with what appeared to be elbow discomfort.
Paulie's got the seat. The old catbird seat. 2-0.
Let's look forward inside and hit it out of the park.
He was all over it. All over it.
Looking fastball all the way. He got it. It was a little higher than he would like, but it was toward the inner portion.
And the count 3-1, so he's got the seat again. Mendoza has pitched well since coming on back in that first inning, and primarily inside.
Outside to the left-handers, inside to the right-handers. And he's given up a few hits, but he's been able to shut the door.
There he goes. So a strike him out, throw him out, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the 6th. It is still 1-0.
Looks like he's ready to go, and that's good news. That's a great arm, missing from the bullpen with a couple of oblique problems. He appears to be entirely healthy these days.
Billy Butler, first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Butler has walked and fouled out to Alex Rios. Oh, and 2 the count. Just tuning in, Sox. Our run coming in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-6-0 for us. 0-4-0 for them. He gone. That didn't take long.
Set him up with some heat and put him away with a good curveball in a perfect spot. Phillips got a good one today.
Yeah, that was as good as he has thrown today. That curveball. FRANCOEUR has grounded to 3rd and struck out. Down past Eddie Rodriguez. One and one. you go. 7 punch outs. Garfilla.
Another good hard breaking ball low and away. That ball started outside, but FRANCOEUR, who swings at most everything, missed that one by a foot.
First pitch strike to HOSMER, who struck out on a curveball, and then a hard single right over the head of HUMBER. Nice inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 1-0. Fans will receive a Billy Crystal bobblehead presented by Pepsi Max. Oh, that's Robin Ventura bobblehead presented by Pepsi Max.
Still like Billy Crystal.
Robin's very versatile.
Robin could host the Oscars. You never know.
Alex Rios. Alex 0 for 2. Hit hard down past Joe McEwing. Well, we still have yet. It's our 35th game to overthrow a cutoff man, and we still have yet to see Joe McEwing make a mistake at third base.
Yeah, he's done really a great job with staying in the framework of consistently being aggressive, but taking his shots. If he thinks that there's even a 52-48 chance of being successful, he's going to take his shot. More times than not this year, he's been right on the money when he makes his calls.
Well, Kenny said it in spring training that as breaking ball will take care of Alex here, 1 out. But Kenny said in spring training, we've got a couple guys down there, Joe McEwing, Mark Pound. We're not going to have them very long. So while they're here, we just hopefully just utilize the heck out of it.
Well, they spend a lot of time with our players not only in their capacities as bench coach and a third base coach, but I'm talking about the everyday getting them better at what they do, whether it's the catchers, which is very important, or in the case of Joe, the infielders, hitting ground balls, talking about cutoff men and where to be at any given point.
Tank, that's severely getting jammed right there. 2 down. Well, again, in years past, it used to be a manager. You wanted a manager who was good from the first pitch of the game to the last pitch of the game. Well, that has changed. As so many other things in the culture of baseball have changed. Now you want a manager. You'd rather have a manager, if you had to have either or, who's good from the last pitch of the game to the first pitch of the next game. Now, in the real world, perfect world, it would be both.
There's also a lot of managers that are afraid to be around guys who are real good because they're wondering if those guys are going to take their jobs. When in essence, the best managers are the guys that'll give autonomy to their staff, hoping their staff will be just as good, if not better than they are. Makes them a better team.
Well, what you just said is always perplexed a lot of people. And they call it paranoia.
Or insecurity, certainly. Now, why would you not want to hire the best people available?
Well, one thing about, again, back to Hall of Famer Earl Weaver, he always wanted the best people around him. And a lot of those people went on to manage. But having a good coach today is more important than it's ever been. It's more important than it's ever been. It's everything about this game is tougher today, as we've discussed this. It's tougher than it used to be. Everything. And certainly coaching. And the biggest thing is getting these guys prepared to play every day.
If you got good coaches, it takes a lot of pressure off a manager.
Ball hit hard, sucked up by FALU. And that was a quick 1-2-3 inning. We have completed 6, and we lead at 1-0. Ends at 6:30 with White Sox pregame live. White Sox Tigers tomorrow night at 6:30 only on your home for White Sox baseball. Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. 22,636 on just a gorgeous day here in the city. Beautiful.
Philip Humber has limited this pretty good offensive team to just 4 harmless singles. He's had a great curveball. He's thrown strike one most of the time, and that's really been the secret, because when he gets ahead, he's been wiping them out with that curveball down, making some good hitters look very bad through 6. But he just has that real skinny 1-run lead.
Lower third of the Kansas City order as he takes a curveball strike, and that is Irving FALU. He has struck out. and fouled out to Viciedo.
Irving's looked pretty good in this series. The guy we hadn't seen a whole lot of.
Well, we saw Moustakas in the first game, and he is a good third baseman.
And hitting 308.
A good hitter, and he's not in there. I wonder, we have not heard anything on.
Now, to me, if he was healthy, I could understand you might not want to start him against Chris Sale. But if he was healthy or maybe not under the weather, I thought you'd see him here today.
2-2 the count.
In his place last night, FALU did have a couple of base hits and scored a run.
Well, he's hitting 500 coming into the day. 6 for 12.
Also, to this point, has played more than a credible third base. Actually played a pretty decent third base.
And he's shown a strong arm. Chopper. Gordon's got him. One out, and that'll bring up Alcides Escobar. Just a bundle of talent. Hard single back through the middle in the second. Infield single in the fifth.
And in a tight game, you always have to watch him bunting. He knows his job right now is to get on, try to steal a bag if he can.
Tomorrow night, first of that brief 2-game set with the Tigers, so make your plans to be with us. It is Value Monday night. And a couple of good pitchers out on that bump. Johnny Danks and Drew Smiley. A couple of southpaws. 1-2 the count to Escobar.
Save yourself a whole lot of money by coming to that Value Monday night game.
Lays off. Good eye. 2-2. Then on Tuesday afternoon, Jake Peavy against Max Scherzer.
There's the matchups. Drew Smiley, ERA 159. Jake, ERA 189.
Bites that high curveball off. And a full count. So he is 7 for 8 in stolen bases. That was a good, solid at bat for Escobar.
Only the third walk of the day. That one's probably going to lead to a stolen base attempt.
Well, the biggest thing here is just making him stop.
So Matt Thornton continues to throw in the pen.
First pitch strike to Quintero, who twice has gone out to Lillibridge in center. Alejandro and Alexei getting the day off. Even more important than throwing over there, just make them stop. They don't like for somebody to hold the ball on.
Now vary your times and then occasionally slide step. It'll make it a lot more difficult. Stolen bases in the American League. Jemiah Weeks, Desmond Jennings, and Brent Lillibridge, along with Alcides Escobar.
Pops up, playable. And 2 down. And here comes Robin. 101 pitches that Phillip has run up there, and Robin has made the call to the pin. And what a nice effort for Phillip Humber. By far the best since that perfect game. Steve, and he needed that very much.
And we needed that. And Phillip Humber is getting a standing ovation from a very appreciative Mother's Day crowd. A great bounce back performance by Humber. So we'll step out as Matt Thornton comes in, and we'll be back after these messages. He is charged with 1 man on. And our Honda call to the pen is Matt Thornton. He'll come on to face Jared Dyson. There are the numbers, 1 and 2, ERA 4.05. And he's been a busy man out of that pen.
Dyson has gone out to center, walked, and was hit by a pitch. There's the strike. Two out. Good speed aboard. Gets on deck. Gordon in the hole. Boston has broken that game wide open. 12-1. Carmine's leading the Tribe. And it's in the top of the 9th.
think the Tribe won the first game of that series and about ready to lose the last 3 out of the 4-game series in Boston.
No walks, Matt.
That was not what Robin had in mind.
So GETZ has been called back.
Giovitella looks like he's got a bat.
And Johnny Giovitella will be the hitter.
Giovitella swung the bat fairly well last year. This year, he's only had 8 plate appearances. Although he scored a couple of runs, has yet to record a hit. I'd like to see that trend continue.
Two on, 2 out. And first pitch strike. Has shanked over their dugout. So 0-2 the count to Johnny Giovitella.
Nate Jones listening in the pen. He threw 2 1/3 last night.
All the way back, so the 2 walks advance. Escobar in the 3rd. Dyson in the 2nd.
That ball right into the dirt. Dollar tried to backhand it instead of shifting, and the ball bounced over the glove.
And there's the base hit. The double scores them both, and it's a 2-1 Kansas City lead. 2 walks this inning.
First hit of the year for Giovitella. And unfortunately, it came after the wild pitch. That fastball out away. Slices it right down the line. Fair by plenty. First run charged to Humber, second to Thornton.
1-0 count to Gordon. Alex 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. Boy, the walks have just eaten our lunch.
Seems like every time any of our guys put somebody out in a key situation, they're going to find a way to score.
It's unbelievable how the walks have absolutely just killed us so far. Broken bat. Meanwhile, the 2 walks score. 7th inning stretch. It's 2-1 Royals. Brent Morel will lead it off here in our half of the 7th as the ball hit hard. Look at the play by Escobar. There is a beautiful defensive gem by the 25-year-old shortstop, Alcides Escobar.
Been some terrific defense in this ball game for Kansas City. Escobar, terrific to his left, and then he's got a rocket for an arm. And our Home Depot doing more on defense came also off the bat of Morel. And it was in right field with Jeff FRANCOEUR. Off to the races, takes one away, and almost gets a double play at first base as Tyler Flowers has to hustle back.
So Brent has had 2 hang woofles in this game besides that base hit. Breaking ball strike. Escobar, who is 1 for 2, a double.
Givatella stays in the game at second base.
And a reminder, Wednesday, May 23rd, well, that's Dog Day. Always a great day. Presented by Hills Pet Nutrition. So for more information or to purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. That's Wednesday, May 23rd, Dog Day, presented by Hills Pet Nutrition. And there's a base hit. So good speed aboard.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it came off the bat of Brent Lillibridge in the 4th inning. Mendoza on the hill. That one might have been ticketed for center field, but Luis Mendoza had other ideas. He snares a one-hopper, gets out of the inning after giving up a couple of hits. And this game is in his hands, and it appears that he is not going to throw any more pitches. And what a job Mendoza has done. He came into this game for an injured Danny Duffy in the 1st inning with 2 outs, and he's got the lead with 1 out here in the 7th. So Mendoza will depart, and we'll be back.
United Airlines flies. United proud to fly the White Sox. Proud to be with them.
Here's our Honda call to the pen, and it is Kelvin Herrera, hard-throwing right-hander with a good straight change.
And here's Diaza. Takes first pitch strike. Lillibridge was 1 for 3. Had that little swinging bunt single back in the 3rd. And then came around and scored our only run.
There you look at some pretty good numbers, and you can see why you'd want as many left-hand hitters as you can get in there. Right-handers have done nothing with them.
just 22 years old, 5'10", 200 pounds, out of Tenares in the Dominican Republic. Good lead. Squibs it. No chance to get DYSON, but they get the lead man. 2 down. So Alejandro, who is 6 for 8 in stolen bases, aboard. Quintero can throw. And here's Beckham. Gordon has walked and twice lined hard to FRANCOEUR in right field.
Well, he can throw, but because he just as soon not lead off with Dunn, wouldn't be a bad idea to try to steal with DYSON.
6 for 8. Not too shabby, as there is a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from the little guy. And the count 0-2. Now, as they look over there, good chance they might go ahead and pitch out on this one. He does not go. Checks it up. Gordon's looking at that ball a little bit longer lately than he has been. Quintero looking over in that dugout. Fastball hit him on the fist. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 8th. We trail it 2-1.
And Nate Jones comes in the game. Jones out for the 11th time. The ERA minuscule, just above 1. The record 1-0. Last night, 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts in relief of Chris Sale. And he just did a magnificent job, but to no avail as we didn't score any runs.
Billy Butler, Jeff FRANCOEUR, Eric Hosmer. Wow. 2 walks if you're just tuning in last inning, and both of them scored. Butler has walked, fouled out to right, and struck out.
Hector Santiago, first inning in the pen.
1-1 to count. And fastball at 96. That one at 96, and the count evens at 2. They're in the top of the second in Oakland. No score. Verlander against Parker in that game. Final from Fenway. Carmines beat Cleveland 12-1. Marlins have come back to tie the Mets at 4. That game in the bottom of the ninth in Miami.
They were losing 4-2 heading into the ninth, and now they've got the bases loaded.
Minnesota shutting out Toronto 4-0. Game in the bottom of the 7th. Payoff pitch. Yes, he did. He gone.
Couple of strikeouts for Billy Butler today. That was a fastball out of the zone, but when you're facing 96, 97, you don't have a big chance to wait too long.
Here's FRANCOEUR. Jeff is 0 for 3 today. FRANCOEUR last year, 285, 20 homers, and 87 knocked in. And with that defense he plays, that is one heck of an addition to this ball club. He's driven in over 100 twice with Atlanta. He's just 28 years old.
Talked with him before the series, and he was beside himself with the idea that he wasn't able to generate any power this year. Couldn't quite figure it out, especially after such a good year last year.
There's the strike and count 1-2. Sometimes that can be a physical thing. Most of the time it's a mental. Everything is self-induced.
Well, there's no doubt he's the same hitter he was just a short time ago.
Well,
there it is.
It is a 3-1 Kansas City lead. That's his first of the season. Well, he's just too good a player. So, as I say, most of the time it's the approach.
Ford home run replay. That was a slider that was not a sharp breaking slider, and it was hit way back.
So here's Hosmer.
He warned him.
Oh, come on, Joe.
Well, that's absurd.
Come on, Joe.
No way in the world he's throwing at Hosmer.
Always something with Joe.
Well, the man just hit his first home run of the year. You got a young man on the mound who pitched 2 1/3 innings yesterday. You got to believe his arm might not be quite as fresh as it was. And now you get a warning.
The 2-0 pitch. DYSON. And it'll bring up FALU. He's 0 for 3. Bank makes the catch. That'll retire the side. Long home run by Jeff FRANCOEUR. It is 3-1 Royals. Loving and safe. A lot of people traveling to see their moms. So, anyway, come see our Sox take on the Mariners on Saturday, June 2nd, because the first 20,000 fans will receive a Carlton Fisk replica statue provided by Mission Foods. That's the official tortilla and tortilla chip of the Sox. So purchase your tickets by visiting WhiteSox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. White Sox great Carlton Fisk. First 20,000 fans, a Carlton Fisk replica statue. That will be nice.
Fourth pitcher of the day is Jose Majerus. You might remember him from his days as a Twin. 2-1 record, ERA 2.51. On for the 16th time, so he's been a pretty busy man. And left-handers have really struggled with it.
Well, he's always pitched well against us. I can only remember one time that we sort of handled him, and outside of that, he was tough. We're going to get something going here. 1-7-0 for us, 3-6-0 for them. They scored 2 in the 7th with 1 hit. They scored 2 walks that scored on the double by Giovatello. And then a homer by FRANCOEUR in the top half of this frame.
Addison Reed throwing in the pen.
There's a strike in the count, 1-2. Majerus against us, lifetime 1-1. And there is a 1.72 ERA. So he's done his thing against our hitters. Did not hold up, 1 out.
Now it appears that Holland is going to come in the game as Ned Yost is trying to mix and match out of that bullpen. He's just coming back from an arm injury. We saw him last night pitch 1 inning and strike out 3. So Maharis departs. Holland comes in, and we'll be back.
For your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. And live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at BAT to 31826 or visit whitesox.com for details.
A Honda call to the pen is a hard-throwing, curve-balling Greg Holland. That ERA is deceptive because he has come back from injury. The guy we saw last night, he had no injury problems whatsoever. 13 strikeouts in 7 of the third innings. And he's going to take a look at Paulie with one out here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Paulie is 1 for 2, an RBI single, our only run back in the third. He also has walked. Looking for it, got it underneath it, pops it up. FALU now trying to take charge.
That's a break for Paulie. FALU might have taken charge a little earlier, but as he was racing in, instead of camping under, it's been a long time with Quintero under this one. They're going to give him air 5. He calls for it. He just doesn't catch it.
Well, he should.
Yeah, it's his play.
Just joining us, the dreaded base on balls once again has jumped up and bit us right in the behind. One pitch. He did not go. Gap out there in right center, and the 2-1 pitch. Could not check it up on that one. And the count 2-2. Alex on deck. Kansas City the last 4 or 5 years has played us as tough as anybody in our division, with the exception of Minnesota.
Probably just as much as any other team. You open the door for them at all, give them any breaks at all, and they have stormed their way through. Plus, they played an excellent defense against us.
And that is ball 4. So here's Alex. Alex is fouled out to first. Hit the ball hard into a 4-6-3 double play and struck out. Attaboy, Alex. Times you can get a little bit of a read on somebody and just how they're going to take that first pitch. That one's right there. 1-1. We always talk about Thurman Munson in that situation. He would tell you how he was feeling on the first pitch. And there's a base hit. So Pauly will pull up at second. Now that drop or misplayed pop-up looms even larger.
Now it's Dave Island coming out, the pitching coach, as Holland throws a curveball, and the stuff today, less than 24 hours after his performance last night, isn't near as sharp. Wasn't as sharp for Nate Jones, and it's not as sharp for Greg Holland. Now a long ball.
And Fukudomi has come out to hit for Viciedo.
The Royals pen. Crow the right-hander, Collins the diminutive left-hander.
Hank was 0 for 3 today. Koske hitting at 171, no homers. He's knocked in 4. So the tying runs aboard with 1 out. Looking for it, guys. That a boy, Koske. Turn it loose. Huge gap out there in right center. 3 runs, 6 hits for Kansas City. 1 run, 8 hits for our Sox. And that is chopped foul. So nothing in 2. Now you got to cinch it up and hunker down. I don't know how they say that in Japan. That's what you got to do.
I'd also look for a wild pitch if he decides to throw that breaking ball in the dirt. As hard as he throws it, it's tough to handle.
Tyler on deck, but we still got AJ sitting over there. Koske in his career has 2 pinch hit homers. And another chopper foul. Now too much time. Two down. Now Tyler is being called back, and AJ is coming out.
Well, he did bury that breaking ball in the dirt, but Quintero made a very nice stop of that one. That's going to bring Collins into the game, I do believe.
All right, so Holland will depart. 5-7. Tim Collins comes on in. We'll be back.
Strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings. Just 5 walks. ERA 3.78 on for the 16th time. He's a left-handed specialist. Not going to throw too long. Usually called on to get out the tough left-hand hitters, and AJ qualifies as one of those.
Here we go. 2 out, 2 on. Down by 2 here in the bottom of the 8th. AJ hitting at .259 with 5 homers and 21 driven in. First pitch, hook for a strike. One and one to count. Curveball nubbed. Foul. One-two pitch. Curveball hit down to Hosmer. Collins right where he should be, and that will retire the threat. So we'll go to the ninth, down 3-1.
A.J. Pierzynski, who came on to pinch hit, is now coming in to catch. Got a new man on the mound. Addison Reed. On for the 14th time, no ERA. 2 for 2 in save situations. And there was a little confusion as to who was actually going to pitch this inning. And for a while, it would have been tough for Kansas City because you can see Nate Jones right there by the third base line, taking a look at Addison Reed saying, oh, okay, you're going to pitch? Well, then I'll go back in. Although 2 guys on the mound at the same time would be tough to hit. And there he is, a look at Addison. A young Addison and a very young Ken Harrelson in that Tribe uniform. Yeah, you get the same eyes.
That was about 55 years ago.
That was a while ago,
yeah.
huh?
So here we go. Escobar, who is 2 for 2 with a walk. He started off that 2-run 7th with a 1-out walk and came around to score. And that was after Dyson had walked as well. So if you're just joining us, once again, the base on balls. Base on balls probably has figured more prominently in the majority of our losses this year than any other single issue.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And you go through streaks. Sometimes you can walk people and nothing really comes of it. Sometimes it's the mistakes that wind up burying you. In our case this year, especially leadoff walks. Leadoff walks are always dangerous, but in this case, it wasn't the leadoff walk that did the damage. It was a walk with only 1 out, followed by a walk with 2 outs.
3-1 the count. So there's the leadoff walk. And here comes Quintero. Humberto is 0 for 3. He's going out to center twice and then fouled out to Adam Dunn. Tomorrow night starts the first of 2 against the Tigers. Tomorrow night and Tuesday afternoon. Then it's off to Anaheim for 2 and then right back here for a weekend series with the Cubs. As that leadoff walk now is going to be on third. So the double, and we're in trouble.
Every one of Quintero's hits during this entire series have been down the line in right field or straight away right field. So he has been a factor. And now Addison Reed in a jam.
And if you're just joining us, Philip Humber was just awesome today. 6 2/3, just the 1 run. And he wasn't on the mound when that run crossed. It was because of that 1-out walk to Escobar. Then Matt came on and he walked Dyson. Then a 2-run double by Johnny Giavitello, right down inside the right field line. And Giavitello on deck.
Just as we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite, and here's our Miller moment. Giavitello comes on a pinch hit with 2 on, takes it down the line. Escobar scores. Giavitello winds up at second. Both of the walks came home to roost. That gave them the lead. They've now extended the lead to 3-1. And with bases loaded and nobody out, Addison Reed is in big trouble.
So the Sox have the infield in. That's ball 1 on a pretty good pitch.
Well, that one had the whole plate.
Hard to get the ball too low to Johnny. That one gets through. And it's a 4-1 lead.
That's just heads up base running by Escobar. Take another look at it. Bob Rosenberg calls it a wild pitch. I don't know about that one. It's a close play at the plate, but a good break by Escobar, and he scores.
That's fouled back, so the count 2-1.
Bob Rosenberg has changed it to a pass ball.
Count evens at 2. So the leadoff walk is crossed home plate. And a full count. He gone.
Here's our BMO Harris Bank pitch tracks. Shows you a fastball out of the zone. Givatella, who might have been standing at first, is sitting in the dugout. And they are not going to take a chance with Gordon. Despite having a tough day, they're going to load him up. Take their chances with the man who has been known to ground into a few double plays, Billy Butler.
Well, Robin's just, you're down 3. It's the top of the 9th inning. Why not roll the dice like he's doing? Billy Butler was the best RBI guy on this ball club, but you got to take the shot.
And he can't run.
If the score were different, they would have gone right after Alex Gordon.
Eric Stoltz listening in the pen.
So Sox packed once again with Royals. Butler 0 for 3 with a walk, that coming back in the first inning. And there's strike 1. There's strike 2. All started with that leadoff walk to Escobar. Double by Quintero. Intentional walk to Dyson. Pass ball, strikeout. Intentional walk to Gordon. And now the count hangs at 0-2 to Butler. And another souvenir right side. Butler been around a long time. He's just 26 years old. Just got a piece of that one. Watch out. Breaking ball. And it's 5 ball.
Butler drives in his 25th of the year. Tried to throw him a slider, wanted it low and away.
So here's FRANCOEUR. 1 for 4. And that was his first hit of the series, coming last inning, a long home run. That made it a 3-1 ball game. And that's a fair ball. What a play right there by Brent to knock it down. Meanwhile, another run crosses the plate, and it's 6-1.
Second run batted into the day for FRANCOEUR. Morel does a great job of keeping this one from going down the line. That might have cleared the bases. But once he got a glove on it, there was nothing he could do. And so that is going to be it for Addison Reed, who for the first time this year just did not have it. So he'll depart. Eric Stoltz will come in, and we'll be back.
Now pitching for the White Sox, number 52.
Had made 13 scoreless appearances coming into the day. That was the most by any White Sox rookie reliever since 1921. And of course, what got him in trouble was the leadoff walk.
Pretty impressive run.
Well, he's going to have some more impressive runs, that young man. And the ability he's got. So here's HOSMER. HOSMER is 1 for 4. So far, 3 runs this inning. We were leading 1-0 going to the 7th. They scored 2 on just 1 hit after 2 walks. Then a home run by FRANCOEUR last inning. So the bullpen has not done the job today. And as we talk about, Philip Humber was just terrific. Nice stop by AJ. And the count 1-2.
This is as good as Humber has looked since the perfect game. He had everything going for him. Deserved a better fate than the no D that he's going to get. But a comforting feeling knowing that the stuff is back.
Two balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Irving FALU on deck. He's a switch hitter. That is foul, and who's going to get there? Nobody. 2 rows back. Eric got away with that one. Tampa Bay defeated Baltimore 9-8. Giancarlo Stanton, grand slam walk-off homer as Marlins beat the Mets 8-4. Ground ball, softly hit. They're not going to get a pair. But another one crosses the plate and a 7-1.
'17th driven in by Hosmer.
So here's Irving FALU. He is 0 for 4 today. Seven runs on just 8 hits. So for those of you who are just joining us, see what the baseball balls will do. I don't care who you play. Oh, and 2 to count.
Five of the walks have come home to score.
You got to find something to take away positive, and certainly Philip Humber is that something, as that's poked foul. We mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, after Mark Burley after his perfect game, he had 9 starts before he picked up his next win. Two and 2. Escobar, the man who started this inning off with that walk, he is on deck. And there's a base hit. It is 8-1.
First run batted into the year for FALU.
All 5 of these runs charged to Addison Reed.
That could help out the old ERA in it.
One and 1 to count. And there's a base hit. You're going to wave Hosmer around.
Escobar gets one up in the zone. His 3rd hit. A perfect day. 3 hits, a run batted in, 2 scored, and 2 walks.
So here's the catcher, Humberto Quintero. He had a double and scored earlier this inning. He's 1 for 4 in the afternoon. Going to the count. So 5 of the walks and a hit batsman. They have all crossed home plate. And this will do it. Big cookie number goes up there. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th, trailing 9-1. Camp from this game, plus Kip Lewis files a report from the Bears rookie minicamp. So join Mark Shanowski. Sportsnet Central, presented by AT&T U-verse tonight at 6:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
A new pitcher coming into the game, and when your closer needs an inning, even in a situation like this, you get him an inning. Jonathan Broxton. 12 games. 7 for 8 in save opportunities, an ERA of 1.54. Came out of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but this year very effective.
Well, he's 26 years old. Check that. That's Billy Butler. Broxton is 27 years old. He is 6'4", 300 pounds, out of Waynesboro, Georgia. And here's Brent. That one in 91. Brent has been the victim of a couple of thefts today. He singled his first time up, and Jeff FRANCOEUR made some kind of play on him to rob him of extra base hits and a couple RBIs. And then Alcides Escobar made some kind of play on him to rob him of another base hit. So Broxton, who was born in Augusta, home of the Masters. That is out of play in the first row. Just got a piece of that one. That same pitch right there before that cortisone shot. He wouldn't have got a piece of it.
Couldn't reach over to get it.
Couldn't reach and get it. Nope. He would have tried, but he just couldn't get there. Two and two. Eduardo Escobar on deck. Well, Boxton comes born from a good sports town, Augusta. Softly hit. Chiavitella right over the top. One out. So here's Escobar. He's 2 for 3, a double and a single. First pitch strike from the big right-hander.
And he is big.
Drops a hook on him. 0-2.
Pitching career with 91 saves and an ERA just above 3.
And that ball pushed into left field. Alex Gordon shading his eyes, makes the catch, and we're down to our last out. So we won the opener of this series 5-0. And yesterday, for the 4th time this year, we got shut out. And today, only 1 run.
This was a team coming into this series that was desperately struggling with his pitching. But not so in evidence in this series.
First pitch strike to Alejandro.
Yazzie came on to pinch hit for Lillibridge in the 7th, stayed in the game. So his second at bat.
And now we're down to our last bullet. 2 out, 0-2 the count. Well, just one of those days when the starting pitching was outstanding, as we talk about so often. You're only as good as your bullpen. Philip Humber was just terrific.
Well, the bullpen that has been pretty good for a while. This was not good today.
Well, the Indians lost 12-1. Tigers are taking on the A's. Verlander against Parker out there at Coliseum. And there, boy, Alejandro. Boy, he is. Well, he really has not surprised us, because since he has been in the White Sox uniform, he's done nothing but impress us.
He looked terrific last year. Got his opportunity this year. They told him he was going to play center field. They were going to shift Alex Rios over to right. And Diaz has done nothing but hit the ball. He's stolen bases when he had to. Been a very promising start as a leadoff hitter for Diaz.
So here's Beckham. A couple of Georgia boys going at one another right here. Gordon twice has lined out hard to FRANCOEUR. He's walked. He's 0 for 3. Takes ball 1. One and one to count. Big hack. So a ball and 2 strikes. Hochaver last night, he was on top of his game. Throwing strikes with that breaking stuff, spotting his fastball. Ergo, 5-0 Kansas City.
And with Duffy leaving the game in the first inning, you thought you were in pretty decent shape. But Luis Mendoza came in, and he was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, we thought we were in, as far as winning this ball game. We still have not heard a report on Danny Duffy. We're just hoping that everything is okay with that elbow of his, because he is just a good-looking young left-handed pitcher. You don't want to see anybody go down, but especially those good-looking young prospects.
Left in the first inning with 2 out. Mendoza came on and went 6. Gave up just a 1 run on 7 hits. And he stands to get the win.
Escobar, and this ball game is over. So he had a 1-0 lead going to the 7th inning. They scored 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and 6 in the 9th. But the big thing positive, Philip Humber.
Philip Humber was brilliant today. I mean, I'm looking for some stuff from him, certainly, but control. He hadn't been able to get the ball over early. He did today, 6 2/3, an inning on 4 hits. Fan 7, walked 3. Deserved a better fate. Gets a no decision when he should have won.
And he is our GMC player of the game. 29-year-old right-hander Philip Humber. Just outstanding today. So for my partner Steve Stone, our director Jim Angio, our producer Mike Leary, our associate producer Dave Moss, our technical manager Mark Harper, the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr., also for the mayor, Mean Joe Groob, and up here in Booth Littlesville, Mayor Frank D'Amato, Paul Carey. This is a Hawk. So long, everybody. You have been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, now part of the NBC Sports Group.